Hey friends, Samantha Farley here. Today I want to talk about outreach. A lot of people are afraid of outreach in business because of cold calling, cold emailing, just cold outreach in general. And it's funny to me because I've had so much success with doing outreach that it blows my mind that more people don't do it. Now, don't get me wrong, I understand why it's scary because it is cold. You don't know these people, they don't know you, you don't know how they're going to react to you reaching out to them. But we need to do a little bit of a mind shift here when you're doing outreach. So if you're watching this video right now, I'm assuming that you either have your own business, you're in sales, you do have to do some type of outreach for whatever you are doing with your business or personal life or whatever it is. It's funny because most people actually do sales every day, right? Like maybe your actual job title is not anything related to sales, but we are selling every single day. In any sense, if you're a parent and you're trying to get your kids to go to bed early, you have to sell them why they should go to bed early, right? It's a real thing. And so learning about sales, learning about how you can get better at persuasion, and I don't say that as in tricking people. That's not what I mean. Persuasion as just in how to get them to see your side of it, your point of view, and actually understand and go forward with that same view. So what I'm going to talk about today is more related to business and sales and doing outreach. So I've always been in new business sales where I've had to find my own leads, my own clients. I've rarely in any job that I've ever had inbound leads. I know these days there's a lot of companies that give their salespeople inbound leads, which is amazing. I know that still doesn't mean that they're always great leads, but it's still great that you're getting leads. Every job that I've had, I have never had any leads. I mean, I would randomly get like 2 to 3 a month, maybe, but that would never actually, close or hit my sales quota with those numbers. So I would have to do outreach. I'd have to go knock on doors. I'd have to go make phone calls. I'd have to email. And if you're in sales, you probably understand, you've probably done this before too. And it can get really stressful and time consuming and hard. And I mean, if you've ever done cold calling, I'm sure you've been screamed at before. I get screamed at daily. People call me names. I mean, things happen all the time. I've been doing that sales though. I mean, if you count college, I've been doing it for almost 10 years now. So I'm used to being yelled at, and you kind of just have to blow it off and move on. But outreach is a powerful, powerful thing. And I want to get a little bit more into it today. So the first step of outreach is determining who your target market is, right? Because you don't want to be reaching out to every single prospect there is out there, especially if you have a broad product that can help so many different people. You still want to try to narrow it as much as possible because one, you'll go insane if you try to reach out to every single person. And two, there probably is still an ideal target, even if you can help everyone. So try to figure out what that is and start reaching out to those people. Now you may be thinking like, okay, let's say I work with restaurants. Well, how do I find those companies? Well, thankfully now we have the internet, which is a powerful tool. And you can use Google, you can use LinkedIn, you can use, there's articles now about like top restaurants to eat at in the summer. And you can do all of that and use those restaurants and, reference back to those articles. Say like, hey, I saw you, made that top 10 list. Congratulations. Like I'm here to reach out to see if I can help you. I mean, there are so many ways to find your ideal target market nowadays, thanks to the internet. Like back in the day when people were in sales, they literally had to just like walk on the street and find people that way. So if you're in sales now, you should be happy that we have so many different opportunities to actually get sales. So the second step is, once you've already figured out your target market, is to find the contact person, right? So if you're working with restaurants, you're obviously not going to go reach out to the servers or the bartenders because they're not the decision makers. You want to reach out to the owners, the founders, the managers, depending on what you're selling. It all depends, but you don't want to waste time by selling to the wrong person. You always got to go for the decision maker. Now, there's always influencers, like if you're selling a product or a service that helps the servers, you might want to get some servers on board to help you sell it, but they're not the decision maker, so they're not going to actually say yes at the end, yes or no for that matter. So you want to make sure to figure that out first as well. And honestly, all that stuff is online too. You can find a lot of that information online. There's tools out there that can help you find out that information. So go online, find your target market and the contact person within those companies or restaurants or whatever it is, and reach out to those people. Step 3 is, how do I reach out to them, right? This answer is also different based on the industry you're working in. So I actually personally, if you're working with restaurants, would say go walk in. It's COVID right now, so it might not work as well, but I actually used to sell sort of to restaurants at one of my internships back in college, and I walked in and said, hey, can I speak to Susan, the manager, or whatever. They may not be happy that you're there and trying to sell them something, but you have to think of it as, I'm not here to sell you something, I'm here to help you with something. That's just the third step, is doing the outreach. If you're selling to, computer software company, maybe phone or email would be best to do outreach to them. So that's really important, is figuring out the best way to do outreach. You don't want to be calling somebody who's never going to answer the phone. That's, once again, just another waste of time. I'll be honest, I don't answer my phone ever either. And it's funny because if I outreach to somebody, like let's say I'm interested in the product and they make me put my phone number, I still won't answer the phone. And that's a warm lead. So I'm just saying, phones these days are hard, but it doesn't mean it's gone, right? You can still try to call people. So it all just depends on your type of outreach as well. But the fourth step is really just not to give up. Too many people that I know that are in sales or just trying to do any type of outreach give up after 1 to 2 outreaches. So maybe they give them a phone call and then they don't answer. So then they send an email, they don't answer, and they're like, well, they're just not interested. They're annoyed. They don't want to talk to me. Well, that's actually not the case. I think the number is, I should check on this because it's been a while since I've actually done this research, but last that I heard, it takes 12 to 15 outreaches before somebody will respond. 12 to 15. And people are giving up on 1 or 2. So you may feel annoying, but just, it's all about mindset too. Like, remember, you're there to help, not to annoy them. And it's on the prospect's end to, if they're not interested, tell you no. If they're just ignoring you, keep going. I don't stop until they tell me no. And even if they say no, I'd like to know why. So make sure to do at least, in my opinion, 15 outreaches. And obviously that doesn't have to be in like 1 month. You can do it over a year or whatever, but don't give up. Someone can be if they're not interested now, they could be in 6 months. You never know. So don't give up. Keep track of all your outreaches. Use a CRM, a customer relationship management tool. There are like thousands out there. So find one that works for you. I use HubSpot currently. There's a free version, so you can start with that. Buy the next version if you really want to, but keep track, because otherwise you're going to go insane mentally, because you're not going to remember who you reached out to, what they said, or anything like that. So keep a CRM, keep all the info in there, and do some outreach. Let's see, mindset. Let's go back to mindset. So when I first started sales, mindset, it is a crucial thing when you are in sales, because you're going to hear more no's than you will yeses, like way more no's than you will yeses. And it's hard when you first start sales even still, honestly, to this day, it's hard sometimes to not take no's personally, especially when prospects call you names, say rude things about you when they've never even met you. I mean, it happens all the time. And it almost makes me laugh secretly because, you know, who are these people to think that they can be calling you names when they don't even know you? But it's a mind game when you hear a no to actually think of that as a positive, because the more no's you get, the closer you are to a yes. And that's really important to remember. And honestly, if somebody yells at you over phone, over email, breathe, brush it off, move on to the next one. Don't give them the time of day. Because trust me, my personality is to give people the time of day and argue back with them. And I've done that before, and it never turns out pretty, especially if you're working for a company. It just, thankfully, the one time I did it, my boss laughed and she thought it was funny and we moved on. But you got to be careful because you technically are the professional. So do not yell back at them. Trust me, I've learned my lesson. So brush it off, move on. Don't give them the time of day, because we all know they actually want you to yell back at them, right? So that is one extra thing with outreach that you need to remember is mindset. If you get upset, walk away, calm down, and come back when you're ready. So going back to why should I do outreach and, rather not wait for inbound leads because they're warmer. You're right. Like inbound leads are warmer. It's people that are wanting to find out information. However, you don't know if the people you're doing outreach to are interested or not. And that's the way I like to look at it is, well, maybe they don't even know my company exists. So they're not going to, reach out to me for an inbound lead because they don't even know I'm here. So I like doing outreach because you never know the case scenario. And honestly, I've closed close to 100 deals that were cold. They weren't reaching out to me. I cold reached out to them. Close to 100 of those deals have closed, right? Like I was able to help them out with something. So keep that in mind. Like you guys got to do it. Think about 100 deals and how much money that is, rather than you just sitting around twiddling your thumbs waiting for an inbound lead to come in. Now, if your company, has like endless inbound leads, then heck yeah, go for that. But if you're bored sitting around just waiting for inbound leads to come in, be brave and do outreach, guys. Come on. Like you're in sales, you got to do this. Think about it in the money. Maybe money will motivate you. Think if you can close the deal, you'll get some commission. So anyway, that is my long spiel on outreach and why you should do it. If you have any extra comments, extra tips, anything, comment below. Let me know. I love to learn new little tricks for outreach. And if you also are in sales, let me know what you do, attach your company link. I'd love to see that as well. And if you need any help with sales, outreach, anything, let me know. Once again, I am Samantha Farley. I am a sales strategist, and I love teaching you guys about sales. All right. Thanks so much, guys. See you.